Hey Flosstube, this is Becky, the South Texas teacher, coming to you from San Antonio, Texas. This is June 15th, 2020, and this is my fourth video. This is a video on cross stitch, and I do crochet. I don't think I've ever mentioned it. I do crochet, but I haven't crocheted in quite some time. It used to be I was crocheting with very little cross stitch, and now I cross stitch with very little crochet. So one day I'll have to remember to bring some of my stuff over. I don't use yarn usually. I do have one thing that I'm working with in yarn right now that I haven't touched in months. I usually use crochet thread. I know it's an old lady thing, but I make doilies, yes. Now I have not made any in a long time. The last one I tried to make, I was on like row 37 out of 80 some odd and realized somewhere I had missed like 20 stitches, God knows how many rows back. So I was just frustrated and tossed it to one side and haven't touched crocheting of a doily since then. And then my other crocheting is some yarn I bought that I thought, ooh, I like this yarn, I will take up crocheting again. And got, maybe 30 rows up because I thought I'd just make a scarf for the winter. It's a lightweight yarn. And realized I was making it too wide. I like a wide scarf, but I was making it too wide, and the 2 skeins of yarn that I bought was going to make the scarf maybe this long. So I had to pull it all out, and so I've started again, but it's like this big. So we'll work on that. Anyway, I had said in my last video that on June 1st, I was going to start the hunter-gatherer on 40 count vellum from Picture This Plus, I think. Yes, Picture This Plus. So I said I was going to start this on June 1st. Well, June 1st came and went. It's June 15th. And as you can see, no starts anywhere, nothing. I think it's because it's 40 count. I have worked on 40 count, but I'm very slow on 40 count. So we will see if this ever gets worked on in the near future. So it is still waiting. I really want to start it. I really like the pattern, and I really want to do it on 40 count just because I'm running out of wall space. And the pattern to me is just so, I don't want to say gorgeous because it's more masculine than feminine, but still it's just a gorgeous pattern in my opinion. And of course it's in my John Wayne project bag, and as I said, I make my own project bags, and I use rounded corners instead of the very sharp square corners, just because I don't like doing 45s. I can do 45s, but I don't want to. I went to the LNS once since my last video. I think just once, yes. And that was only because I had a pattern to pick up that I had ordered. It's not a very big pattern, but I think I showed you one of the last 2 times the series I'm doing from Redbird Designs, which is here in Texas. I don't think you can get them anywhere else. And this is June. And it's a little birdhouse with some cardinals. I don't know if I showed you May. May is a Texas scene, and let me see. Hold please. Okay, sorry about that. I paused, and then when I came back, I turned you off. I'm sorry. I had to go find May. I was beginning to wonder, oh my God, what did I do with May? Found May. Let me show you. I don't think I showed you this. May, there you go. May is I guess you can see it's a long and winding road, and it has the little bird button in it. And these we think are Indian paint brushes. In the spring, there are so many different colors of wildflowers in Texas. They're just spectacular. And it's one of those deals where you drive through the countryside, and the colors just are so vibrant. They're so gorgeous. I know people, excuse me just a minute here. There you go. I know people think my husband and I are weird, but in the spring, we just drive because there are so many bluebonnets and paintbrushes and Mexican hats and all kinds of colors. There is a flower out there. We've yet to figure out what it is, but it is just purple. My husband loves purple, so when he sees it, he gets excited because we don't see them very often. I like wine cups, which are unfortunately on the endangered species for flowers in Texas, because they're just not, I guess they're a more delicate wildflower and they don't reproduce quite like a bluebonnet, but they're just gorgeous. And of course, since I'm doing Texas, these are my bluebonnet bag, and my aunt made these one year, so she gave me an angel, and I had no place to put it. I was like, when I was making those bags, I thought, oh, I have zipper pulls. My aunt made them. And I forgot, when I was at the LNS, I took my mother with me, who is, stop that, excuse me, my angel is being attacked by a cat. I took my mother with me to the LNS. She does a little bit of stitching, not a lot. And I got a crazy cat here. So anyway, she went with me, and while we were there, she found a little pattern. It was on the clearance bin, and it's a little patriotic thing. She likes to do patriotic stuff in the fall. Well, my mother is a little odd. She changes her curtains 4 times a year for the seasons. And then occasionally she even changes for a holiday. So she's continually changing curtains. She has got curtains stashed everywhere. And then she shouldn't be hanging them up by herself, but she does. And then she also decorates for the holidays. And I have to admit, I used to kind of do a little bit of decorating for the holidays, but I don't have place in my house. We lived in a huge house out on 5 acres in Canyon Lake, Texas. My husband was a minister. And then he stepped out of the ministry to go into the emergency field because he said he was doing more ministering to people in need during a disaster than he was actually at the church. So he left, and we bought a house in San Antonio. It's a small house because being a minister's family, we didn't have any money really put aside to do that. So we have a small house, and it doesn't have any walls. Well, it has some walls. But because everything is so small, we don't have a coffee table anymore, because if you put a coffee table in there, you can't open a recliner because you bump everything. So we don't have the recliner. Excuse me, we don't have a coffee table. We just have a love seat with 2 recliners on it, and our personal rocker gliders that we bought a while back. So everything in our house has to be scaled down, because I used to have a huge oversized chair that I loved. It was a recliner, had big wide arms, and I could stitch, and I could put my pattern up there. And I always told the kids, you sit in that chair at your risk, because I don't know if I stuck a needle in it and forgot about it. So anyway, since I don't have as much space anymore, I don't decorate like I used to. But my mother, who's got a bigger house than I do, she has tables set up. And like in February, she puts all the wedding photos out, because that's Valentine's Day. And that's also the month that she was married in, on February 28th. So everything is decorated in pinks and weddings and stuff, because it's Valentine's Day. Then Christmas, she's got Christmas all over the house. And now she doesn't have a lot of Thanksgiving and very little Halloween, because she doesn't really do Halloween. I guess that's why I don't really do Halloween. Anyway, so she bought for herself a clearance pattern for patriotic stuff. And there was a sampler, I guess it would have been about this big. And then there was a small piece that's about this big, and she's working on that. And I laugh because she calls me and says, I did the A in America. And then she'll call me 2 days later. Well, I didn't finish the A. But now I finally finished the A. It took me 3 days to do the A, and now I'm on the M and the E. And I always laugh because I'm thinking to myself, yeah, it's going to take her a long time to do this. So anyway, she went with me, and because I pointed out this pattern that I think is so cute, she bought me this. Now I bought the corresponding snowy owl for my daughter because she likes snowy owls last year when the snowy owl came out. But this bird, he looks like I do in the cold. Poofed up and go away and leave him alone. I love this bird. So she bought me the bird. And then, while I was there, this was on the clearance rack. And I've seen this before also. This is a Prairie Schooler from 1993. And it's all these little cornucopias and vases full of fruit and stuff. And I don't have a lot of stuff for the fall, but I just love these. And I thought, I could actually do those, and I could do it just as one at a time, and add it to a little wreath or something to put on my door. I do have wreath hangers, but I don't usually use. I use one to hold my calendar because I don't have to use a nail. And then the other one is a Christmassy one that is stored with my Christmas stuff. So I could actually do that and make a wreath for the holidays. It would hang on the inside, definitely, not the outside. And then, of course, I bought the black, this is black Cashile 28 count to do those. And then I felt so stupid. When I was there, I ordered a bigger piece of black. And I got home and started thinking about, why did I order a bigger piece of black? And I know I needed a bigger piece of black, but I couldn't figure out why. And I was going through my patterns the other day and realized I had bought one of the new, well, it's not newer now. Last year I bought one of the Alessandra Adelaide Needleworks, the Ons. It's all golden yellow colors, and it's called Orgoglio or something like that. And it's big, and it uses a big piece of black. And I ordered that, and then when I got home, I couldn't remember what I had ordered it for. And then I was going through my stuff and found the pattern. I went, oh yeah. But while I was in there, I found like 4 more patterns that need black fabric. So I need to sit down and go through everything that requires black fabric and see if I think I actually have 2 pieces, but I don't know what I bought them for. But they're too small for the on that I had wanted. But those were the few things that I bought. Now, I do have a finish. I'm very excited about this finish. This is what I did start on June 1st. I don't have any patriotic stuff, and for being a patriotic family, I'm surprised. But that is my patriotic finish. I've started it on June 1, and I finished it last Friday, so that was the 12th. And I know most people would have said, oh, they would have done that in a day or 2, but I am not a fast stitcher. And also, if I stitch for longer than an hour or 2 at a time, my hands start to hurt big time with the arthritis, and so I can't stitch very long. In the bird, I was being so careful because I was so afraid I was going to make him too fat in some spot. When you start to do just a solid color going back and forth like this, I was so concerned that I was going to mess him up. So that is Threadwork Primitives Beggar's 4th, and that is now completed. And I'm going to put this, I've measured it out, it'll fit in an 8x10 frame, and I haven't decided if I'm going to put a little mat around it, or if I'm going to do the thing where you cover a piece of board and then put this on another one and put it on top. I haven't decided that yet. We'll see. And that is done on, and I have actually kept the little bag here. That is done on Wilshire linen color shell. Oh, and the reason I had that piece of fabric was because I had started something else that didn't work out. So I was looking at that and realized that the piece that I was working on, I was doing the stitches wrong, and then I realized also it was too short, and I did not want to mess with having to connect any fabric or anything like that. I don't know if you watch it, Lord and Lady of Stitchshire. She recently did a long piece. I think it says summer. Anyway, or welcome. No, I think it says summer. She realized that she didn't have enough. The fabric was cut. You can see where other things have been cut out of it. So she did like half the word here and then the rest of the word here, and then she pieced it together, and then she used a button to kind of cover, to accent, not accent, but help with the joining of the two pieces of fabric, and it came out really well. I really like it. So my next thing I bought, well, not bought, I bought this a while back. Next thing I stitched. I started this on Friday after I finished the Beggar's 4th. And, here we go. I started Memorial Day, and God shed his grace on thee, is what it says. And it's got the flags, the wash line flags. I like this. My mother told me she kind of liked it, but I don't know if you could see that. But on top of the red, there's white accents. And my mother was like, she would not be doing the white accents. She said she didn't like those. And then here is what I have done so far. This is since Friday. Oh, I got this the wrong direction. Here we go. This is since Friday. And that's sideways. There you go. There's the top of the clothesline. And then there's the first flag and a couple of flowers. And the stems on these flowers made me a little crazy. I did not realize it until I started that the pattern calls for you, okay, you have the X on your linen, of course. The pattern calls for you to go through the hole and make the line up from the middle of your X. So, and then it goes back over, jogs back over a stitch and a half to get back into the line with the stitches below. And I was looking at that and I was going, oh my God, this is making me nuts. So anyway, that fabric, after I got the flowers done, and I'm using the Call for Colors, and these are sulkies. I've never used sulky before. I kind of like them, but I don't want to replace all my DMC with sulky. And this is Edinburgh Cream 36 count. And I don't remember when I bought this or what I bought it for. But when I started it, I was like, wow, this just looks good. And you can see right there, a couple over here. Those are some, oh, what do you call those stitches? Brain freeze. Those are Smyrna crosses. Yes, those little Smyrna crosses, and they almost match the fabric. But when you look at them in different light, in some light you can see it, some you can't very well. So, but they're when you look at them more full on, they're great looking. So I'm going to leave them alone and keep on doing them. So that was what I have done since the beginning of June. I'm not working on any Christmas stockings right now. I have put them away, and I'll probably pull them back out in July. I think some people are calling it Jolly July or Christmas in July. I know a lot of places have Leon sales in July because it's Noel spelled backwards. That is a good time to buy fabric if you know a place that does that. I think several places do. Several designers do in the Etsy world. But I haven't done a lot of stitching after we did Mania. Excuse me. This is Chekhov. So he's my he helps me with stitching because I have his fur in every single thing I have. Excuse me. So anyway, what was I saying? My brain just shut down. So in July, yeah. So in July, I'll probably go back and maybe do a couple of the stockings, not a whole week for each one, and work on those. I don't think I have any. I don't have any ornaments right now started. I did see the cover of the new 2020 Just Cross Stitch magazine for the Christmas ornaments, and I'm so excited. There is a buffalo on the front cover, and I love buffalo, as you can see right there. I have a little leather buffalo standing there. It's very hard to find buffalo things. Nobody likes buffalo. I suppose if I lived in like Wyoming or Montana, I would find buffalo everywhere, but down here we find, cows. We have a lot of longhorn, roadrunners, jackrabbits, jackalopes, but not buffalo. So I'm very excited. I saw the ornament on the front of the cover, so I have to have that magazine. I'm so far looking forward to it. It's gonna be awesome. I don't even care how big it is. It may be one that I just jump in and stitch as fast as possible. You ever get one of those patterns that it just calls to you and you have got to stitch it as fast as possible? It just, I have to admit, that's why I was able to do Death by Cross Stitch, because it called to me. And I know it took me 3 years to do it, but I worked on it more diligently than anything I've ever have, and I was so pleased when I finished it, and I was really pleased when the borders met. That was even better. And I don't know about you, but don't you hate it when you have to do a border and you get all the way to the end and you realize that your borders are doing this and not this, and it's just you got to figure out where you messed up, and yes. Makes you crazy. But I finished the borders. I finished all that, and I don't know what it is. Some patterns just go, it's got to be done, must be done. And other patterns, you start them because you want them, but then you start working on them and you're like, oh, this is so tedious. This is so bogging you down. I don't know why. Just some patterns do and some patterns don't. But the little buffalo ornament, that's one I may stay up late not doing it. I don't know. We'll see. I used to have a subscription to Just Cross Stitch, and I could get them online, and I would get them before I'd get the magazine in the mail. I may renew it just so I can get the buffalo before it comes out, just so I could start it beforehand. Who knows? But anyway, I have some stitching to do. I did buy a jigsaw puzzle just to break up the monotony of stitching and sitting at home and watching TV, and I bought the puzzle, and I have put the puzzle together, and it's finished. I did that in 2 days, and I said, okay, so now what? So I put the puzzle back up, and I'm going to send it to my oldest grandson. He likes puzzles. We'll see. And then I'm going to tell him to send it to his aunt, who is an art teacher, because it's crayon boxes stacked on each other like this, and then with crayons laying on top of it. It was a Hallmark puzzle. So we may just pass that on to her so she can give it to her art class, since it's crayons. But otherwise, life here is going on. As I said earlier, at least I think I did. I tried to do this once before, but Chekhov refused to get out of the video. He wanted to sit right here. We're in the second round of the quarantine. It is looking bad again. The numbers are jumping up drastically. Now, they keep saying that's because they were in a backlog of tests before, and now they're catching up. But it's a big catch up, and San Antonio is jumping up astronomically in numbers and stuff. In comparison, we had it under control so well, and now with everything that's going on, and they're blaming Memorial Day weekend gatherings for a lot of the stuff that's going on right now. But I don't know. People are not wearing masks. People are running around crazy, yelling, screaming, spitting on each other. And that's all it takes. Now I have to admit this. I have not seen people shaking hands and or hugging. So that tells you that a mask was working when we were all masked up earlier, and our San Antonio was such a low increase in comparison to other cities. And so mask work. So wear your mask if you're going out. I had to go to the doctor the other day, and I had my mask on, and some young man, as I was leaving, started to go into the building, and I said, "They're not going to let you in without a mask." He says, "I can't get one in there." And I'm thinking, well, and I told him, I said, "That I don't know." But I'm thinking, you don't have a mask after all this time? I mean, the lady he was with, I don't know, she was masked. I couldn't tell who she was to him. I don't know if he was escorting a mom, sister, daughter, wife, who knows. But they had gotten out of the same car. That I have to admit, that is funny. When you get out of when you go in someplace now, you can't tell what the people are to each other. I mean, you used to see, oh yeah, that's a mom and dad, or son and mom, or brother, sister, or something like that. Can't tell that anymore. But I told him, I said, I'm probably not going to let you in without a mask. And he was going to go see if he can get one inside. But take your mask. If you don't have one, find somebody who can make you one. The stores, I don't know if they have elastic yet. I had to quit making masks because I ran out of elastic for the ears. And I made some for my husband because he wears hearing aids, and they were pulling his hearing aids out. So I made some for him with ties, but I don't like the ones with the ties. Especially if you have long hair or longish hair, they get caught. The knots get caught in your hair, and then it hurts taking them off later on. So of course he doesn't have long hair, so for him it was okay. But it is what it is right now. I had my first video conference call with a doctor today. It was so weird. They sent me the link Friday for today, and I pushed the link, and the thing came up. It asked me for my name. I typed in my name, and I sat there for a few minutes, and a few moments later it went bing, and my doctor was there, and we chatted for about 2 minutes, maybe 3. And he said that the lab work I had done, because that's why I had been at a medical office the other day, had come back good, and I was good. We're good to go. And I was like, okay. And I hung up, and he hung up, and I'm thinking to myself, well, that was odd. I mean, what if I had been, needing something that needed to be checked more thoroughly? But we'll see. I don't have anything that needs to be checked more thoroughly, but I was just thinking, all those people who go in with, a raised part on their body. I did have a cyst removed once years ago, so I would have had to have seen the doctor to say this is what it is. Last Sunday, which was June 7th, was National Cancer Survivor Day, and I was able to post on Facebook that yay, I'm not quite listed as a cancer survivor yet, but I'm 4 years in remission. I think 5 years is when you get to be an official survivor, so I have 1 more year to go, but 4 years in remission, yay! And no cancer in sight, so that's good. I was diagnosed with chronic lymphocytic leukemia back in 2011, and at first they said it wasn't bad enough to do anything, and then over time it was. And so 4 years ago I had to go through chemo. Luckily I did not lose my hair, and but ever since the chemo, 4 years in remission, no sign of leukemia. So I'm excited. My husband's very excited. Every time I go to a doctor's office now, he goes, "Are you okay?" And I was like, yes, that's fine. I mean, I was telling him, it wasn't even that kind of doctor. Don't worry about it. It was a normal doctor's appointment, just a checkup. He's like, "Are you sure?" "Yes, I'm sure. It's just a checkup." So if you know anybody with cancer and who has survived, give them 2 thumbs up. Say, yay, good for you. honor those people, because I know so many people lose their lives to cancer over time. On that note, on a happy note of yes, I'm in remission. Yes, I'm going to end this now. I hope y'all have a great day. Go get some stitching done. Stay inside, wear your mask, be good, and give a hug to someone that you love. Have a great day stitching. Bye.